When people think of blistering speed, their minds usually jump to names like Ferrari, Lamborghini, or McLaren. Supercars dominate headlines with eye-watering horsepower and million-dollar price tags. But here's the truth. Most car lovers don't want to admit. Some motorcycles can not only keep up with these exotic machines, they can outrun them. At a fraction of the cost, with raw power-to-weight ratios that defy logic, these two-wheeled rockets redefine the meaning of performance. This isn't about cruisers or daily commuters. These are purpose-built speed demons, crafted by engineers who wanted to push the limits of physics. From Japanese legends to European masterpieces, these motorcycles hit top speeds that rival and often surpass the world's fastest cars. In this countdown, we'll explore 7 motorcycles that can outrun supercars. Buckle up, or rather, hang on tight, because this ride is about to get wild. Number 7. Ducati Panigale VIR 4R. When Ducati unveiled the Panigale VIR 4R, it wasn't just releasing another superbike. It was unleashing a technological weapon designed to dominate racetracks and make even the fastest cars sweat. This machine is the closest thing to a MotoGP bike you can buy for the street, and it has the numbers to prove it. At the heart of the Panigale VIR 4R is Ducati's 998 cubic centimeter Desmosedici Stradale R engine, derived directly from their MotoGP program, producing 221 horsepower out of the box and up to 234 horsepower with the optional race exhaust. The V4R screams to a dizzying 16,500 RPM, territory more common to Formula One cars than street machines. That's coupled with a curb weight of just over 425 pounds. The result? A power-to-weight ratio that leaves most supercars gasping in its rearview mirrors. On a straight, this motorcycle is devastating. 0 to 60 miles per hour takes about 3 seconds, but it's the roll-on acceleration that shocks most riders and terrifies unsuspecting car owners. From 60 to 120 miles per hour, the Panigale launches forward like it's been shot out of a cannon, a sensation that few four-wheeled machines under $1 million can replicate. Its top speed flirts with 200 miles per hour, putting it in the same league as hypercars that cost 20 times as much. But numbers alone don't tell the full story. The Panigale VIR 4R is a scalpel on wheels. Its aerodynamic winglets, borrowed straight from MGPT, generate downforce that keeps the front end planted even at outrageous speeds. Advanced electronics, including traction control, slide control, wheelie control, and cornering ABS, give the rider the confidence to harness that ferocious power. This isn't a bike you manage. It's a bike that feels like it's constantly asking, "Is that all you've got?" On the track, the Panigale VIR 4R is untouchable. It slices through corners with surgical precision, making full use of its race-bred suspension and chassis geometry. Riders report that even when it's terrifyingly fast, it feels composed, almost begging to go harder, faster, deeper into corners. It's the kind of bike that makes professional racers grin and leaves casual riders hanging on for dear life. Against supercars, the Panigale VIR 4R isn't just competitive, it's dominant. On a tight circuit, it will run circles around Ferraris and Lamborghinis, carrying more corner speed and braking deeper thanks to its feather-light mass. On the highway, it rockets away in brutal bursts that leave exotic cars looking like they're standing still. And when you consider its price tag, around $40,000, it feels almost absurd. For the cost of a set of carbon wheels on a McLaren, You can buy a machine that will embarrass it in a straight line. Of course, this isn't a bike for the faint of heart. It demands respect, skill, and courage to ride anywhere near its limits. But for those who dare, the Ducati Panigale V4R delivers an experience that no supercar can replicate. The wind tearing past your helmet, the screaming V4 echoing through your chest, the raw immediacy of speed on two wheels. It's visceral in a way even the loudest V12 can't match. The Panigale V4R proves that motorcycles don't just compete with supercars. They redefine what speed really means. And for those lucky enough to ride one, it's a reminder that sometimes the most thrilling performance machines don't come with four wheels. Number 6. Suzuki Hayabusa, Generation 3. Few motorcycles have the kind of mythical reputation that the Suzuki Hayabusa carries. Since its debut in 1999, the Busa has been synonymous with raw, unrelenting speed. It was the bike that shattered records, terrified lawmakers, and forced manufacturers into a so-called gentleman's agreement to limit production motorcycles to 186 miles per hour. And even though the latest third-generation Hayabusa has softened slightly compared to its wild predecessor, it remains one of the few production machines capable of running neck and neck with the world's fastest supercars. At the heart of the 2021 Hayabusa is a 1,340 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine producing 187 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque. On paper, those numbers don't seem earth-shattering when compared to lighter superbikes. But the Hayabusa isn't about spec sheet bragging. It's about the way it deploys that power. Smooth, relentless, and seemingly bottomless, the Busa surges forward with the kind of authority that feels unstoppable. 0 to 60 miles per hour? Around 3 seconds. 0 to 100 miles per hour? Barely over 5. And that electronically capped top speed of 186 miles per hour still puts it in the same league as Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and McLarens. What makes the Hayabusa so devastating in the real world is its roll-on acceleration. Twist the throttle at 70 miles per hour in top gear, and it explodes forward like a jet taking off. This isn't just fast. It's absurdly fast in a way most cars, even million-dollar hypercars, can't replicate. Owners often joke that the Hayabusa doesn't accelerate. It teleports. For a rider, that means any supercar you line up next to on the highway will struggle to keep pace once you're both rolling. But the Hayabusa isn't just about speed. Suzuki designed it as a hypersport touring machine, which means it's surprisingly comfortable for long rides. The stretched-out fairing gives excellent wind protection. The ergonomics are forgiving compared to track-focused superbikes, and the stability at speed is unmatched. It's a bike built to cruise at 150 miles per hour all day without breaking a sweat. Something very few cars, even exotics, can truly manage. The third-gen model also brings modern refinements. Advanced rider aids like cornering ABS, multiple ride modes, wheelie control, traction control, and launch control give the rider confidence to handle all that power responsibly. It's still a beast, but it's now a beast that works with you instead of against you. And then there's the price. For around $19,000, you get a machine that accelerates like a Bugatti Chiron, has a top speed to rival a McLaren 720S, and offers comfort that makes cross-country rides possible. That's less than the cost of an oil change on some supercars. The Hayabusa's cultural impact can't be ignored either. It became a symbol of ultimate speed, earning spots in movies, video games, and even underground racing culture. Owning one isn't just about having a fast bike. It's about joining a legend, a name that instantly commands respect. Of course, the Hayabusa demands respect in return. Mishandle the throttle, and it will punish you. It's not a beginner's bike, nor is it one you casually ring out in traffic. But in the right hands, it's an experience like no other. The raw thrill of outrunning machines that cost 20 times more, with nothing but 2 wheels, a frame, and your courage keeping you connected to the road. The Hayabusa isn't just fast, it's iconic. A motorcycle that forced the entire industry to rethink speed. And even now, decades after its debut, it remains a nightmare for supercars. Number 5. Kawasaki Ninja H2. If there's one motorcycle that truly feels like it belongs in a league of its own, it's the Kawasaki Ninja H2. Introduced in 2015, the H2 wasn't just another superbike. It was a technological flex, a showcase of what Kawasaki could achieve when it decided to throw everything at performance. With a supercharged engine, aerospace-inspired design, and performance figures that border on science fiction, the H2 is a motorcycle that can humiliate supercars without breaking a sweat. The heart of the H2 is its 998 cubic centimeter supercharged inline-4 engine. Unlike naturally aspirated superbikes, the H2's forced induction means instant, brutal acceleration across the rev range. It produces around 228 horsepower in its street-legal trim, and in the H2R track-only version, that number jumps to an outrageous 310 horsepower. To put that into perspective, the H2R has a higher power-to-weight ratio than a Bugatti Chiron or a McLaren P1. This isn't just fast, it's otherworldly. Acceleration numbers prove the point. The Ninja H2 rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 2.6 seconds and 0 to 100 miles per hour in around 5. That's the kind of performance that leaves most Ferraris and Lamborghinis looking like they've stalled off the line. The top speed of the H2R exceeds 240 miles per hour, though even the street-legal H2 comfortably cruises past 200 miles per hour when de-restricted. There are hypercars that cost millions that can't keep up with this machine. But the H2 isn't just about straight-line brutality. Kawasaki engineered it with cutting-edge technology to help riders harness all that insane power. Features include traction control, launch control, quick shifters, advanced ABS, and aerodynamic winglets that provide stability at triple-digit speeds. The trellis frame balances rigidity with flex, giving it surprising agility for a bike with so much raw power. It's still a beast, but it's a controllable one. Where the H2 really separates itself from supercars is the experience. A Ferrari might scream through its exhaust, but the H2's supercharger whine sounds like a jet engine spooling up beneath you. It's mechanical, visceral, and unlike anything else on 2 wheels. Twist the throttle, and it doesn't just accelerate. It detonates forward with a ferocity that borders on frightening. Riders often say the hardest part of riding an H2 isn't handling it. It's convincing yourself to open the throttle all the way. And then there's the price factor. A brand new Ninja H2 costs around $30,000. That's still a serious investment for a motorcycle. But compare it to the millions required for hypercars with similar straight-line performance, and it's almost laughable. The H2R, the track-only monster, costs around $55,000. Still a bargain compared to any car capable of 240 miles per hour. The Ninja H2 also cemented itself as a halo product for Kawasaki. It wasn't built to sell in massive numbers, but rather to show the world what was possible when a manufacturer ignored limitations. And it succeeded, instantly earning respect and fear from anyone who knew what it could do. For riders, the Ninja H2 is more than just a bike. It's a reminder that motorcycles, when engineered without compromise, can reach levels of performance that make even the world's fastest cars seem tame. Supercars might win on luxury, comfort, or exclusivity, but when it comes to raw acceleration and top speed, the Kawasaki Ninja H2 stands in a league of its own. Number 4. BMW S1000RR. When BMW decided to step into the superbike world with the S1000RR in 2009, many thought the German brand was out of its depth. After all, BMW was known more for touring bikes and adventure machines than for cutting-edge track weapons. But the S1000RR shocked everyone. It didn't just enter the superbike game, it rewrote the rules. Today, the S1000RR remains one of the fastest, most capable production motorcycles in the world, and easily a rival for the most exotic supercars. The numbers tell a compelling story. Powered by a 999 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, producing around 205 horsepower in its latest version, the S1000RR rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.6 seconds. It doesn't stop there. This bike will keep pulling relentlessly, reaching a top speed just shy of 190 miles per hour, and that's in street trim. Add in BMW's race-derived electronics, and you have a machine that consistently humiliates cars costing 10 times as much. What sets the S1000RR apart isn't just the raw horsepower, but the sophistication of how it delivers that power. BMW loaded the bike with cutting-edge electronics, dynamic traction control, multiple ride modes, cornering ABS, and a quick shifter that lets riders rip through gears without touching the clutch. More recent models include variable valve timing, BMW's shift cam technology, giving the engine both low-end punch and screaming top-end power. These systems don't just make it faster, they make it accessible to riders who would otherwise be overwhelmed by such ferocity. On the track, the S1000RR is a scalpel. Its chassis and suspension allow it to lean deep into corners with confidence, while the engine hurls it out the other side with explosive acceleration. Many superbike shootouts have crowned it champion because it isn't just fast in a straight line. It's devastatingly quick everywhere. That means when you put it against a Ferrari or McLaren on a circuit, it doesn't just keep up. It can outrun them, especially through the twists and turns. But where the S1000RR really shines is in real-world comparisons. A supercar might hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 3 seconds, but the S1000RR matches that while costing under $20,000 new. That's the price of a set of carbon ceramic brakes on a Lamborghini. And while a car offers comfort and luxury, the raw, visceral thrill of piloting the S1000RR is unmatched. You're not cocooned in leather seats and safety features. You're exposed in direct connection with the machine, the road, and the sheer violence of acceleration. For many riders, the S1000RR is the closest they'll ever get to experiencing MG PTP-level performance in a street-legal package. The bike's iconic asymmetrical headlights on earlier models and razor-sharp fairings gave it a distinct personality, while its reputation for speed made it a staple in performance discussions everywhere. Even seasoned racers acknowledge that the S1000RR is not just fast, but consistently one of the best balanced superbikes ever made. Against supercars, it's no contest. A BMW S1000RR will out-accelerate most of them, hang with all of them at top speed, and embarrass many on technical tracks. And all for a fraction of the price. The S1000RR proved something important. BMW didn't just join the superbike world, it dominated it. And in doing so, it created a motorcycle that made supercars look slow, heavy, and overpriced. Number 3. Aprilia RSV 41100 Factory. When Aprilia rolled out the RSV4, it wasn't aiming just to compete with the likes of Ducati or Yamaha. It wanted to create a world-class superbike that could rival anything on the planet. And with the RSV4 1100 Factory, Aprilia didn't just succeed. It built one of the fastest, most intoxicating motorcycles ever produced. This bike doesn't just keep up with supercars, it leaves them gasping for air. At the heart of the RSV4 1100 Factory is a 1,099 cubic centimeter V4 engine producing a staggering 217 horsepower in its latest form. That may not sound outrageous when compared to the Kawasaki H2 or Ducati Panigale FIV 4R, but remember, the Aprilia tips the scales at just 445 pounds. That's a power-to-weight ratio supercars simply cannot match. The result? 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 3 seconds, 0 to 100 miles per hour in just over 5, and a top speed hovering near 190 miles per hour. In a roll-on race, it's game over for most Ferraris and Lamborghinis. But speed is just one part of the RSV4's allure. Where it truly shines is in its handling. Aprilia honed this machine in MotoGP and World Superbike racing, and the DNA shows. The chassis is razor-sharp, the suspension world-class, and the aerodynamics fine-tuned for both stability and agility. Riders often describe the RSV4 as telepathic. It seems to know what you want it to do before you've even fully decided. On a tight track, it carves through corners with a precision that even the best cars could never replicate. Aprilia also packed the RSV4 with one of the most advanced electronic suites in the motorcycle world. The APRC, Aprilia Performance Ride Control, system includes traction control, wheelie control, launch control, cornering ABS, and even engine braking management. These aids don't just make the bike safer, they allow riders to exploit its monstrous performance with confidence. For mere mortals, it makes an almost alien level of speed feel accessible. Of course, there's also the soundtrack. The RSV4's V4 engine has a unique howling exhaust note that builds into a furious roar at high revs. It's visceral, mechanical music, a reminder that you're straddling a machine designed not just for numbers, but for emotion. While a Ferrari's V12 may sound glorious, the RSV4 offers a symphony that resonates directly through your chest and spine. Against supercars, the RSV4 doesn't just win in straight-line sprints, it dominates on cost and accessibility. At around $25,000, it's a fraction of what you'd pay for a Lamborghini Huracan or McLaren 720S. And yet, on a track or highway pull, the Aprilia can run right alongside them, often pulling ahead before they've even reached third gear. Still, the RSV4 isn't for everyone. It's a focused machine, with an aggressive riding position that demands commitment. Long-distance comfort takes a back seat to performance, and the power delivery can overwhelm inexperienced riders. But for those who can handle it, the RSV4 1100 Factory is nothing short of intoxicating. The Aprilia RSV4 proves that motorcycles aren't just cheaper alternatives to supercars, they're often faster, more thrilling, and more alive. This bike is proof that sometimes the ultimate performance machine doesn't have four wheels. It has two, a screaming V4 and a rider brave enough to unleash it. Number 2. Lightning LS218. When most people think of motorcycles that can outrun supercars, they imagine roaring exhausts, screaming engines, and the smell of burning fuel. But the Lightning LS218 flips that expectation on its head. This American-made electric superbike is silent, sleek, and devastatingly fast. So fast, in fact, that it holds the title of the world's fastest production electric motorcycle. And when it comes to embarrassing supercars, the LS218 does it with ease. The name itself tells the story. LS218 stands for lightning speed, 218 miles per hour. That's the official top speed recorded at the Bonneville Salt Flats, making it faster than nearly every production car on the planet. Even compared to hypercars like the Bugatti Chiron or Koenigsegg Jesko, the Lightning doesn't flinch. At full tilt, it can match or beat them, at a fraction of the cost. Performance figures are jaw-dropping. The LS218's electric motor produces 200 horsepower and a monstrous 168 pound-feet of torque. Unlike combustion engines that need to build revs, electric motors deliver peak torque instantly. The result? 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 2 seconds flat. 0 to 100 miles per hour? Just over 5. Those numbers put it in league with the quickest Teslas, Rimacs, and even multi-million-dollar hypercars. On two wheels, the sensation is even more shocking. It doesn't just accelerate, it slingshots you forward with a force that feels unrelenting. One of the Lightning's biggest advantages over supercars is power-to-weight ratio. Weighing just 495 pounds, the LS218 offers nearly unmatched thrust relative to its mass. While a car like the Bugatti Chiron may boast 1,500 horsepower, it also carries over 4,000 pounds of weight. The Lightning doesn't, and that makes all the difference. But the LS218 isn't just a one-trick pony. Its design and components are top-tier, with fully adjustable Öhlins suspension, Brembo brakes, and a chassis built to handle the demands of extreme speed. On the track, it's not only fast in a straight line, it's agile and precise, able to hang with the best superbikes in the corners. Against supercars on a circuit, it combines blistering acceleration with motorcycle nimbleness, often leaving them behind before they've had a chance to flex. What makes the Lightning especially remarkable is accessibility. Prices start around $38,000. Expensive for a motorcycle, but practically pocket change compared to the millions required for a McLaren Speedtail or Bugatti. For the cost of a mid-range SUV, you can own a machine capable of outrunning the world's fastest cars. Of course, being electric, the LS218 comes with challenges. Range is limited compared to gas bikes, with real-world riding yielding between 120 and 180 miles depending on battery configuration and riding style. Charging infrastructure is still developing, making it less practical for long-distance travel. And while it's whisper quiet compared to traditional superbikes, some riders miss the visceral soundtrack of a combustion engine. Still, none of that changes the fact that the Lightning LS218 is a game-changer. It proved that electric motorcycles aren't just eco-friendly commuters. They can be performance monsters that rewrite the rulebook. Against supercars, the LS218 doesn't just compete, it dominates. Faster off the line, lighter, and infinitely more affordable. It's a stark reminder that the future of speed might not roar, it might hum. And for riders who crave the cutting edge, the Lightning LS218 is already delivering tomorrow's performance today. Number 1. Kawasaki Ninja H2R. When it comes to motorcycles that can outrun supercars, nothing sits higher on the throne than the Kawasaki Ninja H2R. This isn't just a fast bike. It's a mechanical monster, an engineering showcase that pushes the very boundaries of what's possible on two wheels. Kawasaki didn't design the H2R to be practical, affordable, or even road legal. They built it for one purpose: to be the most extreme production motorcycle the world has ever seen. At its core lies a 998 cubic centimeter supercharged inline-4 engine, the beating heart of this beast. But unlike its street-legal sibling, the H2R has no restrictions, no compromises. It produces an astonishing 310 horsepower, a figure that jumps to 326 with ram air at high speeds. For context, that gives the H2R a power-to-weight ratio that obliterates hypercars like the Bugatti Chiron, Porsche 918 Spider, or McLaren P1. On a straight stretch of road, the H2R doesn't just keep up, it vanishes. Acceleration figures are almost hard to believe. 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 2.5 seconds. 0 to 100 miles per hour in barely over 5. The top speed? An officially recorded 249 miles per hour. That's faster than nearly every production car on Earth. And it comes from a motorcycle costing around $55,000. For the price of a set of carbon ceramic brakes on a Lamborghini, you get a machine that makes most exotics look slow. The H2R isn't just about the engine. It's a complete package of cutting-edge technology. Carbon fiber winglets sprout from the fairings, generating downforce to keep the front wheel planted when the supercharger's fury kicks in. Kawasaki's finest electronics, traction control, launch control, and advanced ABS work overtime to keep the rider connected to reality. The trellis frame balances strength and flexibility, while the suspension and brakes are race-grade, designed to handle forces that few bikes will ever generate. And then there's the experience. Twist the throttle, and the H2R doesn't just accelerate, it detonates forward. The supercharger's whine builds into a banshee scream, combining with the roar of the engine to create a soundtrack unlike anything else in motorcycling. Riders often describe it as feeling like being strapped to a missile. Even at high triple-digit speeds, the bike still pulls with ferocity, leaving your brain struggling to keep up with the sensation of speed. But the H2R also comes with caveats. It's not street-legal, restricted only to track use. Its tires wear quickly under the immense forces it generates. Maintenance costs are steep, and few riders will ever come close to unlocking its full potential. This is not a machine you buy for practicality. It's one you buy for bragging rights, adrenaline, and the sheer thrill of owning something that can outpace just about anything on wheels. Against supercars, the H2R doesn't just win, it annihilates. Line it up next to a Ferrari or Lamborghini, and it's gone before they've had a chance to stretch their legs. Even the world's most advanced hypercars, cars costing millions, struggle to keep pace. And while those cars offer comfort, luxury, and exclusivity, none can replicate the raw, unfiltered thrill of holding on to a 310 horsepower motorcycle as it rockets toward 250 miles per hour. The Kawasaki Ninja H2R isn't just fast. It's terrifying, exhilarating, and absolutely unmatched. In the world of performance, it stands as the clearest reminder that when it comes to pure speed, motorcycles reign supreme. Supercars may grab the headlines, but motorcycles like these prove that two wheels can deliver more speed, more thrill, and more raw adrenaline than any four-wheeled machine. From Ducati's precision to Kawasaki's insanity, these bikes remind us why motorcycles will always hold the crown when it comes to pure, unfiltered performance.